The world is observing as the global financial system goes through a significant transition, from the opulent halls of the Kremlin to the busy streets of Shanghai. Russia and China, the two heavyweights, have long been viewed as potential threats to US dominance. They are currently making efforts to release themselves from the US dollar's influence. For many years, the US dollar has served as the reserve currency of the globe. It has served as the foundation of the world financial system. However, the US is losing control over the world economy as more nations abandon the currency. And now, one of the biggest oil producers in the world, Saudi Arabia, is thinking about doing something that would have a big effect on the entire financial system. The monarchy wants to trade oil in its own currency and become independent of the US dollar. These actions are not without difficulties. Some contend that they represent a threat to US dominance in the world economy, while others regard them as an essential step toward a more just global financial system. A significant statement on a new currency that would replace the US dollar has just been made, so get ready for an amazing deep dive into the most recent news from Saudi Arabia. We'll be going over all the specifics and their implications for the world economic and political system. Since it has long dominated the world economy, the US has exploited its position to sway other nations' actions and policies. However, as more nations abandon the dollar, the US will need to come up with other strategies for influencing policy. The discussion on how the world financial system will develop is becoming more heated. Some people think that the US will battle to the death to keep the dollar's hegemony. Some believe that the dollar's position as the world's reserve currency will eventually be lost. The global financial system has been supported by the US dollar's dominance for many years. However, as we can see right now, this dominance is under attack like never before. Currently, there's no better time to observe the world economy. Saudi Arabia does not sell oil in US dollars, but rather in Chinese yuan. Saudi Arabia, one of the largest oil producers in the world, may now be open to switching from dollars to yuan when China moves to purchase oil in that currency. Over the past 5 years, there have been ups and downs in the negotiations between Saudi Arabia and China, according to the Wall Street Journal. However, they appear to be gathering momentum presently. A fifth of Saudi Arabia's exports go to China, and it could be too hard to resist selling them in yuan. For many years, the petrodollar has served as the mainstay of the world financial system. It served as the cornerstone of US geopolitical control. However, as China moves to purchase oil in yuan, the question of what would happen to the world if the petro-yuan became the preferred currency of the oil sector remains constant. There are enormous ramifications for this possible change. Since dollars are used in 80% of all oil transactions worldwide, any harm done to the dollar might have an impact on the entire world economy. Given China's increasing economic might, everyone is keeping a close eye on what will happen next. Though there have been previous challenges to the USA's hegemony over the world financial system, this one might be the biggest yet. Should Saudi Arabia begin to sell its oil in yuan, the petrodollar may be on the verge of collapse. The ongoing negotiations between Saudi Arabia and China have the entire world on edge. Will the petro-yuan emerge as the new worldwide currency of the oil business, or will the petrodollar continue to hold its dominant position? The petrodollar system has forced Saudi Arabia to only deal in dollars for oil since 1974. This has significantly increased the dollar's strength and value. Nonetheless, the strength of the petrodollar system has been declining due to the growth of the China-Russia front's De-Dollarization drive. China and Russia have been working more quickly to create a financial network that is independent of the US. Adoption of yuan-ruble transactions in bilateral trade is one example of this. The old financial system may be upset if Saudi Arabia moves away from transactions denominated in dollars. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping promised to further up efforts to create an independent financial network during a virtual summit in November 2021. The network wants to run without interference from the US. This indicated that they intended to stop making transactions in dollars. In response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the US slapped sanctions on the nation with the intention of cutting it off from the global financial system. China and Russia responded by adopting yuan-ruble deals widely in their bilateral trade. As Saudi Arabia and China investigate the potential of pricing some oil sales in the Chinese yuan instead of the US dollar, significant changes to the global order may be imminent. By doing this, the Saudis may be able to lower their risks and compensate Chinese contractors working on significant domestic projects. Since 2016, Saudi Arabia and China have been in talks on oil contracts denominated in yuan. They have, however, lately gained traction as a result of Saudi worries about the US's willingness to support the kingdom. The possibility that Saudi Arabia may move its oil transactions from the US dollar to the Chinese yuan in the global oil market begs questions about how the US will react. Given that the US dollar is a major source of power and influence, the US government may see this as a challenge to its geopolitical and economic interests. In response to Saudi Arabia's possible move to the yuan, the US may choose to cooperate or impose economic sanctions. The petrodollar served as the foundation for US economic domination. The international financial system is preparing for a significant change as the US dollar's hegemony as a reserve currency is coming under threat. Although the US economy's growth has long been linked to the dollar's strength, oil has also played a significant role in maintaining the dollar's standing. More nations are retreating from the dollar. In contrast, the yuan, which is also the most widely used currency for cross-border transfers in China, has already eclipsed the dollar as the most traded currency in Russia. Not only that, but the BRICS organization is putting a lot of effort into developing a new currency to lessen the reliance of its member nations on the US dollar. Experts predict that the supremacy of the dollar may be challenged by this new BRICS currency, forever altering the nature of global finance. In fact, a former economist in the White House believes that the advent of a BRICS currency could signal the beginning of the end for the dollar's hegemony. A third economist envisions a world in which the dollar's dominance is challenged by the yuan and euro, leading to the creation of a tripolar reserve currency system. The Chinese yuan is the main substitute for the dollar in a multipolar reserve regime, a theory that is gaining traction in many nations. Embracing the yuan's potential as a global reserve currency, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Chile, and Hong Kong have each committed 15 billion yuan to the renminbi liquidity arrangement. These 5 countries have made a significant shift toward a multipolar reserve regime, which has the potential to alter the structure of the world monetary system. The yuan's ascent to prominence doesn't end there. In Moscow, where it's the most sought-after currency on the stock exchange, it's already established itself as the de facto reserve currency. This is mostly because of the US sanctions against Russia, which have enhanced the yuan's appeal as a competitive currency to the dollar. The consequences would be enormous if China's yuan replaced the dollar in the world financial system. China would have to uphold the political stability and financial transparency that the US pledged in the 20th century in order to retain the yuan's new role. But the US might pay a high price for this change, since it would be less able to issue dollar debt and earn dollars from exports, which would lead to a contraction of its GDP. China may have difficulties in accomplishing these objectives, which include enhancing commercial ties and increasing transparency. However, China is a major contender to create a multipolar world due to its rapid economic expansion as well as its global diplomatic and cultural impact. However, what would a move to the yuan entail for the world economy? It's a complicated subject that needs to be carefully considered, with consideration given to both the immediate and long-term effects. There is no doubt that China's continued rise to prominence in the world stage may have a big effect on the distribution of power among the various countries. What are your thoughts on Saudi Arabia, China, and Russia, and do you think they can overthrow the US dollar? Let me know down below. If you want to continue to learn about business investing and financial education, we have got this video waiting on the screen for you to check out. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.